everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We're really happy that you could all make it. So we're going to do a little bit of an overview of what we've been doing with Innocence Lost Foundation. We're going to share our Kabala Community Centre project with you guys, and we're going to break down the plan, the budget, and then we're just going to talk about volunteer groups and how we want to achieve the budget and what our vision is and all of that. So this is Fazineh.
Yeah, I'm Fazineh. I'm one of the founders, and I'm the president of Innocence Lost Foundation.
President.
And this is Ava.
Yeah, I'm Ava Vanderstarren. I'm also a co-founder of Innocence Lost Foundation. There's a few people here who don't know too much about Innocence Lost Foundation, so we're just going to give a quick little history of how it started and before we get into the project, just to give you guys a little overview of what it is. So we're a nonprofit foundation. Let me just get this PowerPoint going here.
Computer froze?
I guess so. Perfect. Anyway, do you want to talk about how we got together?
Me and Ava met at Vancouver Film School. I was taking the acting program, and she was doing the acting program too. And in film school, we have something in acting school where teachers get to poke you to get to your past. Because most of us don't. When we have something tragic or traumatic in the past, we don't want to go there. And doesn't mean because we're not thinking about it that we've dealt with it. Sometimes we haven't dealt with it, but we just push it far back there because we want to get along with life. But I had to face myself in film school, and I was fortunate to meet Ava, and she helped me through that. We had a tight relationship through the nightmares and the struggles, and so we started talking about, because there are a lot of kids growing up in war. Like, I was a child soldier. At an early age, I was doing something no grown-up should do. And there are a lot of kids right now as we speak who are going through that. And because of my experiences and all of that, we decided to do something about that. To bring some kind of awareness to it. So that's where the roots started. Yeah. And when Ava was running for Miss BC, it was her platform. I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I did the Miss BC program, and my platform was rehabilitation of child soldiers. So when I got the title of Miss BC 2013, we decided to start the foundation and start now instead of just waiting for someday. So we created the foundation, and our mission is to create and build rehabilitation centers that provide a safe place, therapy, education, and skills training for child soldiers and youth in Africa. So we want to build rehabilitation centers for child soldiers. We also want to build community centers for communities that have been affected by war. So yeah, that's what our mission is.
Yeah, and we want to start doing something about this issue because it's a big problem right now in the world. There are kids being used in Syria, Iraq, Congo, all over the place, and it's normal. And for people, like for kids to grow up in that situation, it's not right, but when kids are growing up in that situation, it's kind of like it's normal. And you have like UN that rescue kids sometimes, and when they rescue the kids, they either put them in prison or put them in certain facilities and then release the kids back, and then the kids end up going back to where they came from because they disconnect with their family and they need to survive, they need food. So this is where I'm from, Sierra Leone, this small
country there. And just to add to what you were saying too, we just want to have help with the lack of rehabilitation centers for child soldiers. So just once they get rescued out of the conflict, to have a place where they can come to be safe. If they still have family, to reunite them with their families, to get them back into school and education, and to get some therapy for them, to get medical for them, to just care for them and everything that they're doing. And so Fazineh is from Sierra Leone, it's a country on the west coast of Africa, which is right here. This is the country Kabala. Kabala is a town which is right up here in the northeast of the country. This is the country of Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia is to the side, and then this is the Atlantic Ocean here. Freetown is the capital of Sierra Leone, and Kabala is in the northeast of the mountains.
all the way up there.
That's where Fazineh was born, and that's where his family, his mom and his sisters still live, and some other family as well. So that's where we want to do our first center. this is a picture of Kabala. That's an aerial view of the city. It kind of looks like Chilliwack to me. I was born in Chilliwack, that's where I grew up. So it looks a little bit like the Fraser Valley, but it's a little hotter.
That is true, because when I moved out here, I was in Alberta, and I was homesick every day, every single day, until I moved to BC. And when I came to BC, I was like fine, and it was till later I was able to connect that, oh, the mountains and stuff like that kind of reminded me of home a little bit. Yeah, so I'm happy to be in BC.
Yeah, so we have some photos here of Kabala just to show you guys what it looks like, because for our first project we want to build a community center in Kabala to benefit the people there. We'll get into that a little bit, but here's some pictures what it looks like. So that's a street in Kabala with some houses. There's another building. There's Fazineh with his mom and his sisters.
Yeah, that's my younger sister, and that was me.
This photo was taken about 2007 before he came to
And
Canada.
that's my mom, and that's my stubborn sister and our stubborn kid. No, they're both stubborn.
Where did they get that from?
And then this is a picture that they sent us recently. So this is them in Kabala in January. So we've
Yeah.
got this
That's
again,
my
his
mom.
sisters. So that's his family that lived there. Some more pictures of the town and what it looks like. There's another building. But it's beautiful, the scenery, the greenery, the mountains. And so we're going to talk to you guys about the Kabala Community Centre project. So our first project we wanted to do is a community centre, because even though Sierra Leone's civil war, it's not anymore, but from being in a civil war that lasted about 10, 11 years, there's a lot of after effects, and the country is still in quite poverty, and there's a lot of people who are still uneducated. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in that country. So that's why we chose it. In Fazineh's hometown, we have contacts there to help us with all of the process of getting this happening. So.
And we had one community center when I was a kid, and it's like almost this room and a little bit. So it was mostly used for dancing and stuff, and that's all they have up to date. So we wanted to change that for them.
Yeah, so we'll show you guys what we want to do here. So community center for the people of Kabala. Let's see here. So at our center we want to provide food and water, so we want to have a water well, a medical clinic, we want to have education, art therapy programs, skills training programs, so to get people back into school who are uneducated and to get skills training so that they have a means to support themselves, so that they have a skill that they can use as something that they can support their family with.
And the people are willing to go to school, because I told my mom she wanted to go learn to read and write. She's like, yeah, I would do that. so if the people are willing, and we think if we bring it for them, it would be nice. Like, I would love to see my mom learn to read and write before she dies.
In Kabala,
it would be nice.
the population in Kabala, about 80% are still illiterate, which is a lot of women and children, and a lot of children who missed out on 10 years of schooling during the war. So.
And this is what the schools look like.
Yeah, that's a picture of a school out there, and so we want to just expand on that and give more opportunities for that. What else were we gonna add here? Let's take a look. This is our site plan, guys. So we're gonna break down what we want to have at the center, and we'll show you guys the different phases of the project, and we'll show you the programs that we want to provide. So we'll just show you what's on the site plan here. The administration building will have counseling offices, will have the medical clinic. And then this here is a multi-purpose room that will have a kitchen, and the room can be used for any different purposes, and we have a water well here. So this is the first phase, and these buildings and rooms can be used for classrooms, and they can be used for studio spaces and whatever we need at the beginning as we develop the project. And then as we continue to build more buildings on the site, we have here a library and computer room that we want to do. And this whole row here is classrooms. We'll have an outdoor theater. We have lots of outdoor space to do outdoor teaching areas too. When the weather is good, we can do outdoor teaching. This building here, we're thinking of for the daycare. We have a primary school education area and a place where people can, if moms want to go to school, their kids can be at the daycare, and then they can go to the adult education classes. Over here on the side, we have volunteer residences when those get made. And down this wing is skills training and art therapy. So we have music room, dance room, art, sewing, metal shop, wood shop, and all of those types of things. Lots of community gardens and outdoor spaces, and a soccer field out the back. And this here is an open air gym. If we get enough money to complete that final phase, it would be an open air gym for some more sport programs and things too. So that's the site plan of the center.
That's my favorite spot right here, the kitchen.
So that's pretty much what we just covered, the different things that we're gonna have at the center.
Would it be a full school? Is that the envision? There's lots of bathrooms?
Lots of classrooms, we'll have a lot of different programs. We'll have the primary school education and the adult education, and I'll show you guys here. We have reading, writing, math, science, all of the different subjects that people go to school for.
And I'm really interested in the art and drama because for me the art is it's the only way I was able to deal with my past, all the psychological trauma I went through. And I'm thinking if we can develop that in Kabala and teach people to express themselves through art, it would develop throughout the whole country. So I'm like really, really excited for this one, the art and the drama, the music and dance.
Those are just some ideas of the different programs and things that we want to have. We want to get Laura and Patrick up here maybe to talk a little bit about
about
You
the
guys wanna
different
come up?
phases.
Oh, sure.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
We're gonna talk about the phases of the project, and just so that you guys have an idea that the funding can come as we develop it. So as long as we have enough money for the first phase, the land purchase in phase 1, we can go over and start. And we can have tents and we can have open air things happening while we're waiting for more funding to come through to complete the rest of the buildings. So that at least that there's a few buildings there to start off so that we can give the community something right away. And then as we go, continue to develop it. But this was a phase, yeah. I don't know, whatever you guys would like to talk about the center. These are architects, Laura and Patrick. They've created the design plans. They've done the 3D modelings of the site and are starting to break down the buildings into the
Yeah, to more details with each building. So the idea going forward is, as Eva is explaining, we're doing it in phases, obviously. And the first building being the administration and counseling and medical clinic is that would be our first building. So from here we move into working in each one of those buildings with more detail. And this overall shows the basing, right? So with the main building, administration, and the community hall, which can be in the beginning used for several purposes, whether from a classroom, from a gathering of the community, music, art, anything. So those are our core buildings. And then from there, it will evolve to other buildings as funding becomes available. We'll have the classroom wing. We'll have the arts classrooms, and we'll have the computer lab and the library, and wood shops, metal shop, and the gymnasium, and a soccer field. So all that develops as I said, as funding becomes available. And it just also our concept was organize the buildings around an interior courtyard, which is an opportunity to bring the community together in the building, and especially because of the climate of this region, we're taking advantage of that, right? Like here we design our buildings where everything is enclosed, right? So we're almost dreaming, saying like, oh, the climate is so beautiful there, so we're using this interior courtyard for a different, for connecting all the buildings and also for the community to use it. We'll have, we're thinking about the concept of learning under a tree, which is a tradition, and also in the interior courtyard we're thinking of an outdoor theater.
Yeah, we have an outdoor theater in the courtyard too for kids to put on drama productions and plays and things and whatever it is they're working on in their programs. So that's kind of the overview of the site plan, and we're gonna just quickly talk about the budget for you guys. There's another view from the back looking in, from the soccer field looking through. So it's a 3D model of the buildings, that's the gymnasium and the different classroom wings, but we can show you from the front again how it looks. So we're just gonna quickly go through the budget with you guys. So for the budget, the first goal is to purchase the land in Kabala. So the site that we need is about 3.5 acres, $25,000 for 25 town lots, so it's Canadian dollars, and that would purchase the entire site, so the piece of land that we need. So the money is actually quite good. It does seem like a lot of money, but to purchase that kind of a site here is in the millions, so the currency works out well in our favor in that way. So we can actually get a lot for the money that we have. And so yes, 150,000 square feet is the site plan. So this whole area here comes out to be 3.5 acres. Yeah. So that's where that is for that first phase. So for the land purchase, the development of the land, drilling the water well, and that is 51,000. Then we have the administration building, the medical clinic, that building right here, to do this building, would be 48,000. So that includes the digging of the foundation, pouring the concrete, the structure, the roofing, the interior, the exterior, getting the entire building finished, and also includes labor to make the building. So that's 48,000. And then for the multi-purpose solar panels, we want to have solar panels for electrical for 15,000. That's what we've got kind of in our budget for that. And the multi-purpose building and the kitchen is a little bit bigger, so that comes out to being about 86,000. So to do the entire first phase is $200,000. So that's purchasing of the whole land, getting the first 2 buildings up, and having the center open to start to see people. So that's what our first big goal is. Because with that money, with $200,000, we can go to Africa and we can do the project.
And the thing is, it's always hard to get it going, but once these days people want to see stuff happening. So if we can start the project right now, get the project going, we can have videos for people, because once it starts going, people will willingly want to be part of that. And once we get this, we believe the rest will come.
Yeah.
Easier, natural.
What are you saying too? Like once you go to Africa, once you start doing the buildings, people see, oh, it's a project that's actually happening, then people are more likely to donate and give. But yeah, so that's the first phase of the project. And then do you guys want to quickly mention the whole overall cost to do the rest of the entire buildings? For every single building on the site and to have our entire vision completed is about 900,000.
Just say $1 million.
Just say $1 million. $1 million is a good number. That would be for the entire vision. So yeah, but the good thing with the 200,000 is we have this. We can already have the soccer field. We can have the trees and the gardens. We can have all the outdoor spaces happening. So and then it's just continuing to add on that as we get funding and making building more of the buildings as we get funding. Yeah. So let's just see. I think we're going into the different volunteer groups now. Here's a 3D model of it looking in. So this is that multi-purpose room. That's right here. And then this is the administration building. That's right here. So this is the first phase when you're looking at it.
That's
and
the what?
This is the water well here, and then this is the library going back that way. The classrooms, the gym, soccer field at the back, and the art wing, the daycare, and the volunteer residences. Just so you guys get the perspective on that. Here's one from the front, another 3D model of what the administration building could look like. So we have this one being the administration building, multi-purpose room, the volunteers over there, the water well. Cool. So the reason we asked all of you guys here today and people who are interested about volunteering with the foundation is now we need to raise that money, right? So we have ideas and we have some things that we've started. What we want to do is people who are interested, breaking them up into groups. So we have specific groups that are part of, like each group has a focus of a different way to raise money. So I'm going to break down the groups with you guys and where we need help and just show you guys what we were thinking, and then we'll get your guys' feedback as well and do that. So how we'll achieve the budget, so currently we have raised $4,780 and we actually haven't
We
done
haven't done any
fundraising.
major fundraising, it's just people believed in us, like, I saw that, okay, take this and stuff like that.
So we've had a lot of friends and
yeah.
family donating online. We
Yeah.
have the jewelry line and a little bit of the merchandise that we've been selling. So this money has been raised just from us starting out, Fazineh and myself and friends and family donating. So that's our where we're starting right now. So we feel like when we actually launch our major fundraising, that we'll be able to continue to make that amount of money grow. So that's what we have in the bank account right now in our Innocence Lost Foundation account.
And we try to keep it 100%, like all the other expenses, we take it out of our pocket, because we want to see the money go up, not like, oh, we got this, now we can take from this and invest on this. No, we're doing that, we're volunteering our time and taking out of our money and our pocket, and the other people that volunteer with us and doing that. So it's 100%, and it can go.
So all the donations we've received just go into the account, and Fazineh and I so far have covered all the costs of the foundation from our own money. So we have one of the groups that we were thinking for putting on events and gala nights. So we have fundraisers that we want to put on. We have a black tie gala that we want to do to raise a lot of money. We do have one contact lady. She wasn't able to make it tonight, but she regularly puts on galas that raise about $20,000 in an evening. So having a black tie fundraiser, having a silent auction, music performances, and charging about like $100 for a ticket, like a big black tie event. So we can have like a really fancy gala. But then we can also have fundraisers, so music nights and
Pub nights.
Pub nights.
I'm a musician and I have musician friends. Start attacking pubs all around the place, and so that was a good idea for the pub nights. And a lot of musicians I know would like willingly and happily volunteer their time to courses like that.
So yes, we want to have one group, so people who are interested in and who want to get involved in putting together fundraisers, people who have skills in that area, people who want to get involved in that. So
And
putting
bring
that out there.
fun guest speakers too.
Romeo's
Romeo
Delay.
I can never say his name. Delaire.
Yeah, and Laura had an idea about putting
Yeah.
on like events where we speak and we can
Get
invite guest
people to
speakers.
come in, yeah. Romeo Delaire, right?
Yeah.
Have done. He has done so much good for bringing awareness to child soldiering and stuff like that. Like it's beyond belief. He's worked so much, and it would be nice to. We're gonna try and contact him. And we have a little connection in the UN too, because during the Ebola crisis, we worked with the UN, because they were pretty slow, so we had to like get them going. People were dying back there, and me and Eva made some connections in the UN, and they're waiting to hear from us when we get everything going. So there are organizations out there that are looking for people like us who are interested in this kind of project.
Yeah, the Ebola awareness video that we made was played on TV and radio and stuff.
Yeah,
So that was-
because the diseases were happening, and it's like it's so hard to go help people somewhere if you don't know what the custom is and how things are happening. So most people didn't even know the common way of preventing the disease. So me and Eva made this video and had the UN, and they played it on TV, and a lot of people benefited from simple stuff like touching and stuff like that. So with that we made a good connection at the UN, and we're gonna contact them once we kick off and
Yeah, keep
get
going
some
here.
help from them.
So one of the groups is helping us with continuing to create the business plan. We want to create donor packages, so putting together the presentation in a package that can be used to approach larger businesses for donation and to approach, to apply for grants, to do all of those types of things. So we want to have one group of people who are good at doing stuff like that, putting together business plans. People who want to do that, if you are interested in that kind of area, you can let us know. We want to expand the t-shirt line and the merchandise. So we don't have t-shirts made yet, but we're wearing some t-shirts that we did purchase from another foundation. So I'm wearing a shirt from Invisible Children, and Fazineh has one from Free the Children.
Yeah.
And so we want to have a t-shirt line, so we want to expand that and have t-shirts that we can sell to raise money. We had the idea of making a hat that could be like the Kabala Community Centre hat. So like this hat, all the profits are going towards the center, and just expanding the line that way. We have a little bit of merchandise. We have some bags and pens and buttons, and some of it is laid out on the table over there. We just want to continue to expand that merchandise line and have that as a source of income.
And we want to have a group that can really focus on that.
Yeah, so if you're
And take it
interested
to the
in,
next
if
level.
we have some designers who said that they're gonna donate a design for a t-shirt, and if you're interested in getting involved in that area, we definitely need
Yeah.
help.
A lady contacted us from LA. She was like, she really want to be part of designing the t-shirt and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then we also have the jewelry line. So currently I make all of the jewelry, and I put it on Etsy, and we sell it online, and we sell it at the Peony and in the Christmas craft markets at Christmas time. But like for me to continue to do the jewelry, I'm running out of time, so I don't have enough time to do it all. So if anyone is interested in learning how to make jewelry and to get involved in that aspect, we definitely need people, and I'm willing to teach people how to do it. And just someone who wants to get involved in that way to help with posting the jewelry online and getting the sales. We think we can also start to expand it. If we have more of it, we can start getting into stores on like Granville Island and Main Street and around Vancouver, and just getting it out there. And once the center is built, we want all the people at the center in like the skills training programs to be making the jewelry and having it
Wow.
for sale and benefiting the center and stuff. School programs, so you wanted to talk about this one?
Yeah, well, we want to do outreach to school. Was it last summer?
Yeah, we went to my
We
high
went
school in
to-
GW Grand.
Yeah, Chilliwack High School, and I was expecting like kids that don't really care. And no, seriously, I went in expecting that, and towards the end of the meet with the kids, I was way more inspired than they were, because they knew about Sierra Leone, they knew about the conflict, they knew what's happening, and they were so willing to be part of it that I was really inspired, and I really want to do that. We really want to go school to school, because they're young, they're not tired yet, they're not like, oh, I'm done with this world. It's not going to change anymore.
We did have like a really good time going to speak with those students, and they're doing something called Take Action Day, where they break the school into volunteer groups and everyone is benefiting a certain thing. So instead of classes that day, they do something to benefit the world and the community. So one of the groups that day can be something to raise money for Innocence Lost Foundation. So we want to just continue to expand that connection and get into more schools in the Lower Mainland, tell them about what we're doing, getting kids involved in fundraising and putting on car washes and bottle drives and in their volunteer clubs, and getting them selling t-shirts and pens. And we want to get our online fundraising going. We want to have the Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe sites, so just getting all of those set up. I don't know if you guys have heard about those, but they're online sites where people can donate, and it's called crowdfunding. So it kind of gets spread out there to the web, and people who we don't even necessarily know who believe in the project can donate
I would
online.
do Indiegogo for that.
Pardon me?
I would do Indiegogo.
Do Indiegogo for that? Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, so if someone knows about that and they want to like help
Awesome.
with that kind of thing. Some other ideas, yeah, we had putting donation boxes in coffee shops, reaching out to church groups, universities. When people go through university programs, they usually need to get volunteer placement in whatever area that they're studying in. So just getting university students as well to be volunteer placements. And Rotary clubs, speaking at Rotary clubs, Rotary is something that there's groups called Rotary clubs, and they're humanitarians and business people. So we have a few speaking arrangements that are going to be lined up in the next few months where we can go to Rotary clubs and tell them about what we're doing as well.
And they're inviting us to too, so that's cool.
Yeah, so that's great. And we have FS Financial, Mission of Care. I don't know, Kate can quickly speak about this.
Sure.
Innocence Lost Foundation is now partnered with FS Financial. So if you go in for one meeting with them, they give a $50 donation to your charity of choice. And Innocence Lost Foundation can be one of those now. So Kate wants to give a quick little talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks everyone. So,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Actually, we're gonna go through a little role play here, not really, but what I have for you is your thank you letter, Fazineh, for when you came in.
Yeah.
This is the example of what would happen if anyone who came into one of our 8 or 10 offices. Just make an appointment. I'm gonna hand out my card to everybody, as well as a $50 gift card, charity gift card. Now, what I'd like you to do with that is wait until you've come in and had the experience of Mission of Care appointment. Really what it is just 30 minutes or longer if you want to have more questions, just about anything financial. But FS Financial Strategies is built around fundraising. Our whole heart and soul of the company is called Mission of Care. So anyone who comes in, no obligation, just to you know, that one less worry. What is that one little thing in your head that when you go to sleep at night that you would think about with your finances that you might like information on? So when we do that, it's just strictly education. So on that, you get this is the copy, I'm handing here now, the check came in the mail. But for every participant that comes, and I have one here for Kate, I gave her hers today for coming in, so thank you. So that's a copy of the check, and I'm just gonna read real quickly this letter. Dear Mr. Keita, am I pronouncing that correctly? Sorry.
Keita.
Keita, sorry. You guys call it that today, that's why I don't go with the We went straight to first names. So this letter comes from the president of our company, and we give this out to everybody, so they get a copy of the check, so they see where the donation went to. Okay, and it reads, I would like to personally thank you for taking the time to meet with FS Financial Strategies and for giving FS Financial the opportunity to make another donation to this very important cause. I am delighted to confirm that FS Financial Strategies has made a generous donation of $50 on your behalf to Innocence Lost Foundation through our innovative Mission of Care program. Because of people like you, we have now donated to over 600 different charities. At FS Financial, we involve, inform, and inspire everyday people to experience the joy of giving and achieve their own financial freedom. You've taken the first step and have already made a tremendous difference in your community. So in that community, it's this community, and it's in the communities all throughout the
That's
world.
wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
I'll have some cards. Honestly, if everybody in this room, I just did a quick head count, so that would probably be like $1,500. And then once you've done that, I'd love you to give the card, that's gonna be the gift card, to someone else. That would be another $1,500. And it's so easy, it's half hour every time,
Yeah.
and there's no strings
The
attached.
checks came to us in the mail and we've already deposited them in the Innocence Lost Foundation account. So just going in to do a financial education appointment and to learn about what FS does.
No sales, no strings attached, and everybody has something they need to
I
learn
didn't
about. So
buy
it's a win,
anything.
no, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know, Kate's come
And
in,
then they just
that
ask
doesn't
you
matter,
what you
that's not what
want.
it's about. It's the more people that we come in, the more $50 we can give away. So I consider myself a professional fundraiser. I just get to give away the money, so lots to learn
Yeah.
about. So I'll
So
get all
every
my cards.
meeting, so definitely if you wanna set up that meeting, like if you go in, it's like, instead of you guys giving us a $50 bill, you're giving us 30 minutes of your time to go meet with her and then they give us the $50 bill.
So you could give $50 and you can give another $50 by your time. Don't have to, one does not cancel the other.
And so now we just also have other different volunteers that we need. We need designers. We need, you know, whatever you guys have as skills, whatever you're passionate about. If you wanna offer, we need people to help with websites, posters and pamphlets, just expanding the logo, the branding. Anyone with Photoshop skills. Someone to help with social media. I currently do all the posting for that, but it does take up a lot of time. So if anyone is really savvy with social media and wants to get involved in that, we can use all the help we can get with that. Creating video campaigns, so Fazineh has his camera that's currently filming the meeting, and we've done a little bit of our own video, but we definitely always need people to get involved.
Different ideas, different.
We're gonna start really releasing like the PR stuff, getting press releases, TV, radio, newspapers, and start expanding, like letting people know what we're doing, because we haven't really put ourselves out there yet. We've just been in the planning phase and like trying to get everything together. But now that we're starting to put forward all of our plans and things, we want to start telling people about what we're doing. Yeah. And then if there's anyone here who wants to be involved in the research and development, we can definitely use more help, you know, working with us and potentially with Laura and Patrick on like the building plans and continuing to develop the project. So we still have a lot of work that we need to do in that area. Contacting other nonprofits, other charities, organizations that have done similar things that already work in countries in Africa and who do similar projects. You know, just getting in contact with more people and getting involved in researching things. And then of course the group that will travel to Africa with us down the road to build the center, we definitely need volunteers. If anybody wants to come with, we are definitely open to it. So people that help us with the first group to get construction, managers, contractors, and then volunteering at the center once the center has been built. And we have lots of different areas that we need help with. So there's the picture of some people.
This camp guy,
Yeah, he's been quiet the whole time, but he's still there watching.
Sam, you okay?
And then we just have this, whatever skill, whatever you're passionate about, whatever area you want to land in, whether it's big, small, whatever, we definitely need your guys' help to continue to.
And that picture wasn't my idea.
Oh yeah, we do have a sign up sheet over there if you want to put down if you're interested in being involved in any group, any way, anything that you feel like you want to learn more about or get involved with. We have a sheet over there where you can put down your name and put a group group or groups that you might be interested in helping out with, whether that's the event planning, whether that's like program development, going to Africa, any type of the fundraising. Definitely put your name down if you're interested in getting involved with us. What else do we have here?
Is there an online one where people can go on?
Yes, we have, we're gonna post, actually we can probably post the PowerPoint, we're gonna post the video of the presentation. And then on Facebook, we have volunteer groups. We have a volunteer group on Facebook, but then we can also set up email lists for people who don't have Facebook. Just starting to, from going forward, we're gonna be, instead of doing big, large meetings like this, we're gonna be doing smaller meetings with the different groups. And like the group that's working on the event, you know, then they can meet, and the group that's working on whatever other part they can meet, so.
And then we'll eventually come together and each group will, this is what
Yeah,
I did,
all
this is
working
what I
together.
wanna do, and
Let me just see here. And I think now we're just opening it up to you guys. If you guys have more questions and if you guys have more suggestions, we'd love to hear from you, ideas, anything that you guys want to talk about, mention. So that's the end of our presentation. And yeah, if you guys have more questions about the
Or
center,
anything you wanna
if you have
say.
more questions, yeah, I want to say anything.
suggestions.
So like,
So great.
Yeah.
Yay.
Have you thought about actually charging the schools to go in and just feed?
They actually suggested it.
Because schools will pay for it, especially if they have, if schools in Vancouver, or I'm thinking like, if you guys go out to Toronto, where there is a very heavy sort of African community where they would have that connection and that tie there, schools will pay for
Yes,
guest speakers to come in.
Yeah.
Like I work at Westland Secondary, and we've paid for a number of people that have come in to raise awareness about, I think the last one we had was someone who was involved in raising awareness about the spirit bear. And
Okay.
I think he charges $750.
Whoa.
Right,
That's awesome.
okay. So yeah,
And
definitely.
it goes towards the organization.
Yeah, that's definitely
If you
good.
guys got together and
Yeah.
had a very formal presentation,
Yeah,
schools will
That's-
pay for it.
that's
Some point you
great.
probably have to make your name first, so you can't just.
Yeah,
put
no,
that
I know,
right
I
on
still
the
go
screen.
forward.
but no, but that's definitely a good point.
But that's
what-
what
Fazineh is,
he would only had the program for about 5 or 6 years. Like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't
for
long.
sure.
Well, the school in Chilliwack told us that. They said if we want, they can arrange something where we can get paid, and they.
So we're definitely gonna
Yeah.
look into that some more. And Fazineh is writing a book about his experiences too. So down the road when that gets published, we'll have like that as well, backing us up and sharing his story and going in as an inspirational speaker and talking to the kids.
Have you thought of talking to like some imams or some mosques?
Someone?
Some imams or some mosques?
Oh, the
fundraising.
mosque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mosque churches. Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Yeah, we've been thinking about that.
I'm sure they.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be behind it.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so we want to get kids
'Cause,
involved.
Sorry, I didn't.
No,
get
no,
that.
no, no worries.
Ramadan, you know, everybody gives money on Ramadan.
Yeah, zakat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
zakat. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the time of year everybody does it, so that's gonna be
Yeah.
coming up. I mean, that's something we
Something
could.
to be aware of with that with churches and other religious groups is they tend to give money to someone who is gonna be promoting the same thing they believe in as well. So that's something we might
no.
get turned down for
No,
reasons.
no, zakat's different.
Oh,
I'm Muslim, it's different.
okay.
It's different. It's about helping people. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something,
We'll
it's something
look into
each
it.
individual gives money for
Yeah.
2.5% of their net for the health benefit of mankind. It's not for the benefit of only Muslim or only, you know, a select or a sect of Islam. It's for
For
to make
everyone.
the world a better place.
Yeah, it's called zakat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll look into that some more as well. Yes.
so like, presumably, like if you guys get this right, it's gonna make a big impact in the community, right?
Yes, it is.
So my question is like, to do something like that in Canada, for example, it'd be like a big ass permitting process with the local government, and you have to go through. Is there any consideration around that kind of stuff, or can you just like buy land?
Yeah, it's easy to. I bought a land, I don't know, 6 months ago for my mom. All in all, it cost me. It was 2 town lots. It cost me about, how much was it? $3,000. The paperwork, it's Africa, right? It's like you go to the main chief, and then they bring witnesses, they sign it, and you get your land. Yeah, and they have a police commissioner that's involved in it. That's how everyone buys the land. The police commissioner, the chief, witnesses, sign the land, it's yours, you pay cash.
And then in our budget, we've included some fees for like if we need to get any specific permits and stuff. We have people who are living over there that are helping us with getting the costs of all the building materials, which is how we came up with our budget. So we have Lansana, who's a friend of Fazineh, who lives over in Sierra Leone, who's helped us with finding out like how much wood is, how much cement is, how much each brick will cost, and that's how they've calculated the cost for the budget. And we also do have a breakdown of the budget over on the table there that details it in more detail, like per building, like how many bricks and it breaks down the whole cost. So and part of the budget is the administration and legal fees and things like that are included in it.
And when you build a building, you have inspectors come in before you open it. You have inspectors come in and inspect the $2 or whatever, and come in to watch the movie. And so few people have generators, but the whole town doesn't have electricity. But we want to, like the solar panels, we want to really focus our attention on that, because it's like Africa is going through that level right now, because we don't have powered electricity. So the new thing that's happening right now, the evolution that's happening through Africa, is like a lot of people are focusing on the solar energy and stuff like that, because we have a lot of sun and it's like developing pretty fast. So we really want to tap in on that.
Yeah, and also what we have to remember too, like Kabala being like more of a small town. So Freetown in the capital, where maybe some people live who are rich, they might have running water or things like that in their house.
Electricity.
But like in the capital cities, in the larger cities, it's more common to have running water or electricity, but in the villages and the smaller towns, it's not. Yes?
What possibility would be of the government, the federal government of Sierra Leone, once you guys started this project, pitching in?
That's unlikely.
Unlikely?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They have so much problems. to tackle, and because I have contact in the government, and I tried pushing that. It's like they will welcome you to come, like the chief and the government. They will welcome you if you want to do a project like that. They'll make it really, really easy for you, but for them to take it out of their pocket. And I wouldn't want that, because to be honest, I don't trust African governments.
Okay.
Right? Because if they're part of your project, that means they have a saying over your project. And next thing you know, they'll be like, maybe you should start charging people. So we don't want to give them any power over and they won't even do it too.
Okay.
And that's the thing to say too, the chief will, like, it makes him look good, the chief, it'll make the chief of the town look good to have the community center, but,
yeah, because it will help him during the next election, right? Like, it was during my time that the community center got built. Yeah, so they'll make it really easy, and the town people will really like donate their time to make it happen, like labor and stuff like that. Like they would want to make that happen.
They want this.
Yeah.
They want it.
and like a big thing that we wanna do too is, we wanna hire local people to be employed at the center, so we wanna hire local laborers to help with the building. That's part of our budget. We wanna, when the center is up and running, employ as many people that we can at the center as teachers and people that we've trained to like help and, help out at running the center, managing programs, all that kind of thing, to provide local jobs as well for the people that live there.
I have one other question.
Yes.
So is the plan to offer the services for free? Is that the idea?
The idea is to offer the services for free.
So you're gonna have to like continually raise operational funds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
like they can afford it if we pay, like if it costs money. I don't think anyone can afford it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm just trying to understand the model. And so
Yeah,
like,
sure.
have you guys done like, just out of curiosity, maybe have like how many students are gonna run through it in a year, and like Just like, have you done any kind of estimates on that kind of thing?
Um,
To tell the story.
We're just starting to get to that part. That's the next phase, and I'll show you guys in the volunteer groups that we have one of the groups that's going to be working on continuing to develop the rest of the project for that. Yeah. Yes.
I just had an idea. I mean, when I was a kid, I fought at Washington Athletic Center in Seattle, and there was one first event was $500 play charity event, the other was $1,000. Maybe me and Fazineh we sit down. I'm not saying I can get that kind of money, but like.
You mean as a fundraising idea?
Yeah,
To do
I'm
something
sure
like
that.
Yeah, for
They'll-
sure, guys. That would be
Using
great.
amateur or professional fighters, I think, it could help you guys.
Because for me, I want to go as soon as possible, but then there's like the realistic timeline of how long it might take to raise that. So, I mean, if we don't have a date, but we have, you know, an idea that the first goal is that $25,000 to get the land. If we could raise that by the summer, that would be great, because we're thinking from now to the summer having events and fundraisers and really getting everything launched. If we do that big gala night, we can probably get up to the $25,000 by the summer. And then just continue to go from there. But then like sometimes there's unexpected things, like when we approach Jimmy Patterson or Oprah, you never know, we might get a large donation and we can go, but you know, like it's difficult to put a timeline on money, so there's
Oprah?
Might get a car.
We were thinking after we make the first move, because we're just about to make our first leap, maybe after we make our first leap, we'll start to get an idea of a timeline, which is really important. It's nice to have a timeline, but we'll only know for sure after we make our first leap and plan our second leap. After that, we'll have a rough idea of a timeline. And she struggled with it this morning a lot, since yesterday. But timeline, I don't know.
I was supposed to make a bar graph and be like, we want to get this goal by this date and this goal by this date, but it was so difficult for me because I really don't know when the money is going to come in, but we want to get it as soon as possible, but now is when we really start launching and going for it, so.
So Ava, when you get the building built, what is your plan like for the kitchen and that? Is it going to be like a feeding station?
Yeah, for the kitchen, we had an idea of, we have the community gardens and some things on the property that can provide some food, but then also in part of the program costs, like having food available at the center, because when kids are hungry, they can't learn. So just like starting off with the water well, starting off with the food and feeding people who are hungry, and then like getting them into programs and things that they need. So as we develop, with one of the groups being the project development, as we develop the budget for running the center, we're definitely including food costs in that so that we can feed people. And the kitchen is a community kitchen too, so if we have events, you know, and food needs to be prepared, that kitchen can be used, and yeah, that kind of thing.
Are you at all worried with providing food like that it's gonna become something where the parents stop buying food and the kids just get it at school and then the families aren't as independent?
Well,
Is that a worry?
no, like I grew up on that situation. When you're hungry, it doesn't matter where the food come from.
Yeah.
But the parents, some parents just can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's like they don't have but we won't be able to feed the whole town right away. Like I see your point. So we'll make our students a priority, the student that will come to class, and then maybe from there we'll have the next priority, maybe other students from other places or other people, yeah.
And it all depends on what our budget is like we can purchase food and we can hand out food, but if there's no money to, like, per day we have a budget for food, then we'll just try and do that, but Africans are actually a lot different than Canadians when it comes to sharing food.
Yeah, we share food.
People who, I've learned this from Fazineh, when he has like no food and he's hungry, he'll still give me his food, so, and I have a lot of food. Do you know what I mean? So he's willing to share any little bit that he has, where kind of a mentality here is almost like when you have food and you're hungry, you want to keep it for yourself. But there.
And she slowly, she got over that. It took her a while, you know, like, it's like my food. She's good now.
Yeah. I think I saw a few other hands over here. Patricia, yeah?
I know we were talking about it before, but I think it would be really helpful to have like a communications section, like so you can have a strategy and a plan, so that we all kind of know what story we're telling, because we all want to share the same story and tell the same story and have it all like consistent.
Totally.
And so yeah, I just think that it would be really great to have that foundation, and like plan.
For sure.
But
Yeah,
I
and I'm thinking that it can be part of the business planning group, like the group that's working on business things, but also the PR group. So we'll definitely like work in with
Yeah.
communications, and then the business planning, like the strategy for us, the PR group, the strategy that we put out there for everybody. So yeah, we do need to continue
Yeah.
to work and develop on that kind of thing. Yeah.
I would look at having a self-sustaining cycle to it. So, like, it's going to be hard to expand the plan after you build the initial
For sure.
community center to other areas. So I think trying to think about how you can incorporate merchandise or other things that give people the ability to work and create a product that can be sold in
Yeah.
other areas, and therefore creating jobs and having money that feeds back into building your community centers.
Yeah, that's definitely the idea, because we do need to rely on donations, like one-time giving, but we also need to be able to raise them, like have the money be
Self-sufficient, yeah.
self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So that's where the t-shirt line and the jewelry line and like you're saying, other programs, and just, we need, more ideas with that too, so if you guys have ideas and stuff, we can continue to.
And people on the ground too will have ideas on that too. So it's gonna be a joint collaboration to sustain that, because it'll be really nice to sustain it. And because if that community center can sustain itself, it's easy to expand to other places.
Yes, Patricia.
Sorry.
That's okay. I know we had
And
a few
program
programs.
development, like who's gonna create like the curriculum for the students? Is it gonna be like, cause Sierra Leone has its own politics and
Yeah.
economics, and we want it to be respectful of their culture. Is there gonna be someone that's gonna develop the curriculum and?
Yeah, we definitely
Yeah.
wanna have that, like as it continues to go down, like the contacts that we have back home and people that we meet that have skills in those areas, we're definitely gonna.
And we want to mix it too. We just don't, cause like I never learned music in school until I moved to Canada. I learned to sight read and all that stuff here, and I wanted to my whole life. Like I wanted to, so we want to like incorporate, bring stuff that we work
Just see what
out
works.
there, and then
see
use
what's
the
needed.
main curriculum, because they from the country they have, when they graduate they have to go through that rules.
Yeah.
But at the same time, want to bring whatever can work and mix it together.
And yeah, just to be clear, we don't want to go to Africa and just be like, okay, all of you guys are now going to learn what we learn in Canada. No, because like it has to be suited to the people that live there and their needs and the things that they need to learn and what they learn. But we also want to like help them with a step up as well. So just like mixing the program, mixing the curriculum, and just seeing what the needs of the students are as we get to that point.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the timeline about that. I understand why it's difficult, because you don't want to also limit yourself.
Right,
So,
yeah,
I say
yeah.
it's going to take 6 months when it can take, a heartbeat.
Ex-
So,
right.
So my question then would be, what's your timeline in terms of when you're ready to start? Let's say bang, here's the cash, you're done. So when would you guys be ready to go? I'm sorry if I missed
That's
this,
okay.
I'm sure I've been writing
No,
down a
no
whole bunch
worries.
of ideas. so I
For
might
me
miss something.
personally, with
Yeah.
my job and my what I do, I can leave next week and put everything on hold.
And yours.
But
And I'm-
next
you're
week,
set.
next week.
But actually, that's true with the Ebola crisis. We need to make sure that
Yeah.
it's safe to travel there.
Yeah.
So we do
yeah.
need to make sure that the country is safe before we go there. Sierra Leone is a peaceful country and they're good stably politically and everything. But the Ebola outbreak that they've been going through has been a little bit scary. So we don't want to just throw
Take
ourselves into
people
that. We
there.
have to be smart about it.
They're actually planning to open up the school at the end of March in
That's
Sierra
great.
Leone, so
Yeah.
That's great.
Ebola's going.
Starting to get
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kabala has never, the town itself never had an Ebola case. It was just around
Yeah, they were
the
very
surrounding
lucky
villages.
that
Yeah.
the hot spots didn't enter the main town, and because they locked down Kabala, they didn't let people in and out. So they were like super diligent on trying to keep Ebola out of it. So there was like a really scary time, but they made it through that. So
There's one dude, There's one dude who's like, he's a businessman in the States, and he was really like instrumental in providing the funds to block everybody out and protecting the country, because it was like his home. You should try to connect with him.
yeah, totally. I think I know who I remember who you're talking about, and I will look into that for sure. I know there was a few other people that we missed, I know
I
there was.
just wanted to finish, just
Yes,
ask, so I
sorry,
just want to be clear, so
Yes.
in terms of, like, you guys are ready to break ground, kind of thing, with your plans and everything else you're saying, okay, that's just.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just need to continue to develop the program costs and that.
Of
We
course,
do wanna,
yeah.
we do have more development to do,
Okay.
but like we're in terms ready to go.
Yeah.
But
Lauren
you-
Patrick maybe can speak to that, like how far off we are, like if we did get $1 million donation tomorrow, how close would we be able to?
We're used to working with deadlines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do-
Technology is pretty simple.
yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of building types and whatnot.
And we're fortunate too, Ebola is going down pretty fast, cause for me that was my only concern. I'm not gonna take someone from here, like whoever it is, and take them there
If it's dangerous.
when something like that is happening. I have to make sure it's 100% out of the way, and then bring people over. But that's gonna happen pretty soon, yeah.
Is that finished what you were saying?
Yes, it is, yeah,
Okay,
thank you very
wonderful.
much.
Yeah. Yes,
What
sir.
are the predominant languages in Sierra Leone?
Oh, well, we have Creole, which is really weird because it actually traveled through Canada to go to Sierra Leone. We have the indigenous languages, that's like Mandingo, Fula, and all
The
that
tribal
other stuff, the
languages.
tribal languages. But during the American Civil War, there were slaves that fought on the side of the British. But Britain promised them if they win the war, they will give them land and their freedom in the state. But Britain lost, so they shipped them to Nova Scotia. So they went through some hard times in Nova Scotia. They shipped them to Sierra Leone. So when they went to Sierra Leone, they brought this pigeon that they created from the slave farms, like a code. That's kind of like English, but it's a code. So the masters won't understand what they were saying. So when they brought it to Sierra Leone, the whole people, it became the main language of communication.
That
So
can
it-
connect all the
yeah,
tribes, because the
connects
tribal
all the
languages are
tribes.
completely different,
Yeah.
but the Creole, which is like an English slang, kind of connects them.
Yeah.
Everyone speaks the English
So
Creole.
if you speak English, you can understand Creole a little bit, because like where you go, it's like what's that you the go. So there's you and there's go, and so if you're looking at someone, you can work it out. And
And the more you get some
Could they understand English?
if you go really slow, like really slow, yeah.
What about Arabic? How many people there are Muslim?
Yeah.
It's a mixed country.
It's a mix.
Sierra Leone does coexist.
Yeah,
There's
it's the
Muslims,
most-
there's Christians, there's all different.
Yeah, it's the most religious tolerant country in the world.
Kabbalah
Yeah, it's-
specifically
it's-
is, I mean,
yeah,
that's
Arabic.
an Arabic name.
Yeah, there's some people do speak Arabic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also there's a little bit of French too. So there's
It's a mixture,
big
just
mix.
like
And Fazineh
But-
speaks 7 languages
yeah.
or 8.
But that's not considered a lot of languages back there, because my mom speaks like 11.
Wow.
All the
Yeah.
tribal-
Tribal
all the
languages.
tribal
Yeah,
languages.
because they mingle,
Yeah.
right? Like there's intermarriages between
Would this
religions.
center be more focused towards like helping kids who are in Kabala or helping kids who have returned there after an experience, or I assume that like a lot of those kids have now grown up?
Yeah, my age group.
Yeah.
Well, this one was more for like a healing.
The community.
Our next project is gonna be we thinking about places like Sierra and stuff like that where there are like kids right now. But this first project, the community center, is just for healing to create some kind of
Yeah, so I actually do want to cover that quickly. The Sierra Leone Civil War was in the 1990s to 2000s. So it has been 10, 15 years now since the war has been over. But that doesn't mean that the country doesn't still feel the effects of having gone through a war and like having all of the children used in war, having people, just when people go through war in general, the post-traumatic stress disorder that comes with it, just everything like that. So we started in Sierra Leone because Sierra Leone still does need a lot of help, even though it's not a country that has gone through a war
it's just
in
going.
the last year or two. But it is a country that still needs a lot of help, and we wanted to start there because of Fazineh's connections, because if we were to go to a country we have no idea what's going on, like at least we have people on the ground who we're connected with, but Fazineh can speak the languages, where we have connections. So we wanted to start there and start in the home, like where Fazineh's hometown was, because there's still a lot of people who need help there and who have been through the war and who were child soldiers in the past. So that's why we want to start there. And then our next projects down the road, as the foundation continues to grow and we have more projects that we want to do, we want to do rehabilitation centers like in countries that have just gone through war and have them be a smaller center where it's just a rehabilitation center that the child soldiers can come directly to. Angela, did you want to speak to that?
Just and stepping in like now, then it stops things from being passed down generationally. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the cycles of abuse that just
Yeah,
continue on and
yeah,
on, even if
yeah.
something ended 100 years ago, if something isn't done to correct, you know, what's happened neurologically and stuff, it
Yeah.
just keeps going, so
Does
it's
that-
so smart to step
Yeah,
in.
does that make
That's so
sense,
true.
Rita, about that? I don't
That's so
know if
true.
we kind of like skipped over a little bit in the presentation, but yeah, that's what the first project is, the community center, and then down the road, we also want to do rehabilitation centers that are like focused on the children that have just come out of it and need a place to go. Yeah.
When the UN gets involved with child soldiers, is it likely that they would move them somewhere that isn't their hometown? Is it likely that they would ask to put them in maybe your community center or something like that?
Potentially,
Or is that
but like,
pretty-
I don't know if
The
it
UN,
depends
to be honest with you, the UN is like 50-50. It's not like it's
Their
a
heart's in
big
the right
yeah.
place.
It looks like the big world organization, but they failing a lot of people, including me, because they can pick up a kid from a war zone and maybe hold the kid in their whatever facility they have after a while, and they run out of funds too most of the time. And when they have funds, they have certain things that are like commands coming from New York and places like that from people who have no idea what it feels like to be on the ground, and these guys just obey that order, right? So they can rescue kids, and sometimes they don't know what to do with them. And then sometimes they just release them out. And some
we're
of these
talking
kids,
about long-term rehabilitation
Yeah.
too. Sometimes they can only help the child for maybe 3 months.
And
or
the
so.
reason why we
And
started this foundation is because of that. Because when I was a kid, like I used to see NGO vehicles running down the street all the time, UN vehicles, and I had no idea they were there to help us. Even one day when someone was like, "This guy is here to help," I was like, "No." We argued and asked someone who was old, is like, "Yeah, this is an NGO." Until when the rebels come to Freetown in '99, we went and opened this big UN store, and there was like food all the way to the ceiling. But like there were hungry people around that place for over years who were sitting around that place hungry all the time. And we had no idea that that place was packed with food until when we go open it, like, oh, everyone should come and take it. It was like food all the way to the ceiling. So now I have no idea why they had it there. But it's the UN, right? The others come up there, and so that's why we wanted to create.
Right. So that goes back to why we wanted to make our own foundation and start a foundation, because during the process and what we were going through, we could have raised a lot of money and donated it to a charity or a foundation. But the thing is, it's difficult to always know where the money is going and if all of it is being used. So that's why we wanted to do a foundation that we had control over where the funds were used from and what projects we did. And just so that we knew to keep it the way that we wanted it to be, like, you know, helping the people and not getting caught up in a bunch of bureaucratic and red tape and like all this kind of stuff. Like, we didn't want to, you know, be paying people to be our business manager. We wanted to keep it volunteer based. We didn't want to have it be one of those scenarios where down the road and years go by and our board is like paid people. Like, we have it in our bylaws that nobody working for our foundation is paid. So like, because sometimes you donate to a charity and then you find out 80% of the money is going to cover the cost of running it, and you're like, only 20% of the money is actually getting to the people. So yeah.
So, Ms. Unclear, the manifesto of Innocence Lost Foundation is to help children soldiers in Sierra Leone for now, and then you guys want to spread out from there.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, so the first phase is for the town, for the schools, but the buildings that are gonna have residency, that's gonna be for children that were
Yeah. And down the road, different projects that we can do. We can do projects in South Sudan, Central African Republic, potentially Syria, depending on how the situation goes down the road. Just like our rehabilitation centers, which are smaller than this big community center, those will be for children coming right out of the conflict to go to receive the medical and to receive therapy programs and just to have a safe place to get away from war. And those will be down the road after we've had our footing and we've done our first project, and we can expand and continue.
It's kind of like the foundation.
Yeah, the foundation, the base, and it's a learning process too, because it's difficult out there, right? Like when you start going to places like CAR, it's so mixed up, like their war is so mixed up, you just like the loyalty is changing all the time, right? So to build a rehabilitation center in a war zone, it's a target right away, because like if I'm a commander, my first idea is like, oh, I can get free soldiers from that rehabilitation center. So that's gonna take a lot of study of the ground and how we're gonna do about that. So
we wanted
after
our
this
first
project,
to be close to home so we can get our footing, and
put
then
our
we
foot
can
in and
go out
expand.
and expand from
Because
there.
even before I met you, Ava, before I met you, Fazineh, a friend of mine named Kasim Uma was a child soldier in Africa, and like the stories he told me were just horrific. And he became world champ in boxing, but like it's always with him, you know. And like I gotta hand it to you guys. Like, I really believe in your foundation. And one, what you said was the people coming back. You know, we're all scared of terrorists. Well, these kids have been like traumatized and tortured. They're coming back to do what? What are they coming back to do? They have not, you know, we gotta give them, like, I believe in what you guys are doing, and you got my full support.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, I guess I was just trying to wrap my head around, you know, this is it's a big space, it looks great. It just, how is it that it's going to run, you know, years after everything is built? So I'm just wondering, like, what are the plans going forward with how it will be self-sustaining, like you had mentioned?
It's something that we're thinking about and starting to develop that maybe needs a little bit further development for sure. And if you're interested in helping out with that, we could definitely use like more help with that area. It's just like in the starting phases and planning all of that, but we do want to make sure that that happens.
So would there, like, so let's just say you have the school up and running, because that's sort of what it seems like it's going
Yeah,
to be,
it's
right?
kind of like
School?
when you think of a secondary school here, it kind of includes all of those things. So it's almost like modeled after what a secondary school is like here. Yeah.
And is it something that I don't know how the government structure is in Sierra Leone, that the state government can then not take over, but sort of then finance or fund afterwards? Or is it always going to be from the foundation?
Yeah, well, I believe it's gonna go from the foundation. We're trying to make a movement. Like our main goal is not just a foundation goal. We want to create a type of movement in the world where people are aware of stuff and are ready to take action. And this is gonna go from like places in Africa like Ghana, where like I'm setting it up a little bit. So I want it to be like a circle, right? Like a circle where it's all connected. And there are some people out there who be willing to like continue to support it. But yeah, in the beginning,
It's always going to be
it's
money
always
for sure,
going,
that
yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to wrap my head around, like, where is that going to come from? And the people in the community, so let's just say there was a community garden where the kids were involved with growing the food and then selling the food. I don't know, I feel a bit ignorant.
No,
What I'm talking about,
no,
like,
it's-
can the
Can I speak
community
to that?
afford to buy
Yeah.
the food if they were to sell the crops that they grew? Or if they put on a play, can the community
Yeah.
afford to go to the play?
Yeah, for sure. And the
So-
skills that they learn to be their jobs to
Yeah.
create with it.
Yes, sir.
So clearly, yeah, so to do this properly, you wanna be able to offer this free. In order so there's only two ways that, you either like generate revenue internally, or the way the foundations work, where you can actually have an ongoing, recurring revenue stream that can support is that you build an endowment, right? Like you heard about that, right? So it's like, that's how like large foundations work. So you have a large capital pool and there's an interest that is accrued from that. But that's like, that would take years to do. You have to raise like
Something to work
$10 million
towards.
or whatever. And then, we just like support it, you just have cash that we just like support coming out of the foundation. And when you think about like foundations, like that's how they work, or the Vancouver Foundation, or whatever, right? Like Toronto, they have massive capital flows, and that's how they sustain it. So, but like, given the scope and the magnitude and the importance of the vision, like, I think you guys should just tell a freaking huge story and then try to do that over a long period of time. But you are gonna have to answer that question.
Yeah.
Like,
When we
anyone
go
that's gonna
in.
give you money now will be like, well, what's gonna happen in 6 months?
For sure, yeah, yeah.
Because so many times people will go to these other countries and build something and then they'll just leave it and it won't be maintained.
We don't want that
No,
to
that's
happen.
not gonna happen.
So for us, we wanna have
Yeah.
the people employed there, like building managers, program managers, people who live there, not just also volunteers who are coming, but people who live there, and we can have like people, like a site manager, like someone who actually lives in Sierra Leone, who we employ that's their job now to run the center. And someone who is like the program manager for the teachers and the program manager for the sports program and the art program. So that the people on the ground are running the center, and then, yes, like you saying, the sustaining money coming in to run the center is paying those people to come.
Sounds like what you said, that circle. So, yeah, you do have the foundation to propel things forward, but again, it just becomes a way of being and a way of life. So it seems to me that that's exactly what you're doing, is, shifting that, which, I mean, children, of course, and their parents, educating parents so that the kids are supported and not just left out in the fray, with all this education and help, and, they need to be supported in that too.
Yeah. And all of our different
Elders.
ideas of like fundraising and stuff like that, and what we're gonna continue to expand, it also includes sharing Fazineh's story and like going to schools and sharing it with kids, and his book, and like getting revenue and income from all of those things too.
And I know people here too who's been like supporting kids for like 2-3 years in some country, in a third world country, it's just like one kid, you go to their homes, they have like the picture of that kid. So I know for certain there are people out there who willingly want to be part of something that's growing. As long as you can keep them connected to the thing, it's like you giving this is what is happening, because we want to be as transparent as possible, where people can get like full access to what they're doing and how it's helping the people. So I know for certain there are people out there who would love to be part of something that's like ongoing instead of a one-time thing that's boom.
Like the Sponsor Your Child.
Yeah.
I know you guys said that you were planning on employing a lot of people from the town that you were working in, but would you welcome people that were volunteering, say just for like maybe you don't need necessarily all this money all the time, you could also just ask people for their time.
A
to
big
come in
mix.
And volunteer
Oh,
their time.
yeah.
So like
We
I
got
have like a happy
residential
thing
buildings
about
like
that,
Like
like
even from here,
Yeah,
say
yeah,
I would
like
go
my
there if I had somewhere to stay.
yeah, like my dentist, he wants to come, so like it would be like he has a life here, he has things he's doing here, but there might be like a 2-week period where he can travel over there, or however much time he can give, or longer, and be like, okay, at the medical clinic this week we have a dentist, so like we're gonna get as many people in to see the dentist as possible. And then he has to go, but then maybe there's a different dentist that can come in, and then there's like different doctors and nurse groups that can do that kind of thing, and different teachers, and it's mixing that together, so having a mix of volunteers coming over and a mix of the people who live there being hired in the center.
I know someone who's a doctor who visits a lot of villages and stuff, and one of the things she likes to do is she has a few people that every time she goes somewhere, she works with them, and so they're in no way trained to be a doctor,
Right.
but they're definitely learning skills, and that's something
Yeah,
they
yeah.
keep in mind when you have people visiting, is people passing their skills on and have lots of people learning as well.
Yeah, definitely, and
And-
like having it being a teaching opportunity as well.
And the good thing about Sierra Leone, we have a lot of nursing schools, but the nurses don't have employment mostly when they graduate from school. So like I know there's like tons of people that will be easy to train. Say for example, if a doctor go in to work with a trained nurse and teach that trained nurse to learn few skills, I know that would be easy.
Yeah.
How large is the town?
The town itself, I have some stats on that actually. I don't
How
have
many
it
people-
memorized, but
How many people stay in the town as opposed to leaving?
let me just find that for you. So the town, I mean, you saw like an aerial photo of it, it is pretty big, and it has continued to grow. So, but I do have some stats about the town. We're gonna try and make as big of impact as we can, but it's not even gonna be enough. Like our center, the center that we have here, it's like, if you're saying like in Vancouver, you have one community center for the entire, entire BC or whatever, right? So like, it's hang on.
It's starting.
It's a starting point, but yes, so the population of Kabala in the 2004 census, okay, wait, current estimate is 40,000 people. Yeah.
Okay, and so the goal, second, is to solve or help with illiteracy, is to help build people's skills. What is, like, ultimately, everything, you get the $1 million, what's the best case scenario and what you're hoping to give the people?
The best case scenario, like starting out, or Fazineh was saying, like, starting out by doing the research and the people who need it the most first, so that the kids that aren't being sent to school because their parents can't afford it, like starting to get those kids starting to come. So starting with like the people who need it the most, and then
There's training vocations too. We have institute in Sierra Leone that train people with skills and stuff. We can get a connection with them because we want to have like the adults or like young people in the facility. We want to be able to train them so they can be self-sufficient. So for me, the best scenario would be if we like self-sufficient and have people who train to go out in the community and actually do something that's resourceful.
Okay, so what are some vocations that are needed there?
Like engineering, metalwork, but it's like carpentry and stuff like that, like masonry and stuff like that. That's more, there's more employment for stuff like that, like because houses are being built all the time, there's more employment and stuff like that.
Would you consider like a higher emphasis on the location, still the creative literacy, but a higher emphasis on location so they have skills to gain
once
money?
we get there and we see the needs of the people, we can adapt the programs based on that. But like definitely people need to be able to know how to read and write in order to be able to do like any careers in business. So it's just like starting with the basics and going forward. Then also training laborers, training people to do. But like people who can't read and write, they're automatically kind of like laborers, right? So it's just like trying to get further ahead. Yeah. I know we're starting to run a bit, like I know the time is kind of starting to run on, but we didn't want to keep you guys too long, but we'll do a few more questions. Yes, Patricia?
Oh, just on what he was saying about kind of the problem that you guys are trying to solve, just like in fundraising myself, it's like when you're trying to fundraise, your goal or your kind of like everything should be centered around the problem that you're trying to solve so that it's kind of clearly marketed.
Yeah.
So
And that's like where the business group, hopefully we can work on that and like just clearing up the vision, clearing up all the goals. So yeah, we have the information sheet over there and there's a list of the groups that we presented. So like I know if any of you do want to get involved, like there's no pressure to like choose a group or anything, but if you feel that you're passionate about an area and you do want to get involved and you already know that, you can write that down so that we know what area you're interested in. And we're just sharing like what we were doing here tonight, so we're not like expecting all of you to become volunteers, but we're definitely appreciative if you guys do want to volunteer in any capacity.
Choose a group
We would love that,
like,
so.
Well, at least 75% of them.
Yeah. Yes.
So how many people do you have a part of the organization right now?
Currently myself and Fazineh are board of directors, and we have my mother on the board of directors because when we started we needed 3 people on the board. So those are the people who are like legally involved in the foundation. Then we have all the volunteers so far that have come forward, like Laura and Patrick are a really big part of it because they've like created all these design plans for us and they're our like main source of architects. And then we have all the people who have like helped us out in little ways that are involved in it. Something we want to do going forward is expand the foundation and invite people to become members. So to be a member of Innocence Lost Foundation, you can say that you're a member, but it's basically you're a volunteer, like if you're helping out.
Yeah. And it's just the beginning phase. We want it all to happen organically. Sometimes we come across people who are like really passionate about the project, and that's something we wanna look for.